Hi guys, so today we're doing Unit 8, Day 4, Properties of Rhombis and Squares. Okay, so rhombis have the same properties as a parallelogram, alright, and then they also have 3 extra things. So the first one, all 4 sides are congruent. Second thing, diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, and remember the symbol is an upside down T, and then diagonals bisect opposite angles. Okay, also another thing to remember about a rhombi, I like to remember it as a slanted square. Okay, so that might help you as far as a hint to remember properties. Alright, let's do the first one. Alright, so JK, so when I'm working with a rhombi, or rhombus, I marked this first, okay, and I also marked the boxes inside just to remind me, okay. So they say JK is 12, well then everything else is 12, okay. Now they say that JN is 7, so that's 7 and that's 7, okay. Now we've got to do something to find out the other diagonals, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. So what is that? That's a right triangle, right? So I'm going to draw it separately. So you've got 7 here, and the hypotenuse is 12, and you're looking for this part of the diagonal, right? So you've got x squared plus 7 squared equals 12 squared. X squared is 95, and then when you square root it, x is 9.7, okay? So now this is 9.7, and that's 9.7, okay? So we can complete all these things. 12 is JM, JL is 14, MN is 9.7, and MK is 19.4. Alrighty, let's do the next one. Okay, so again, with working with a rhombus, you want to do this, okay, and do this. Mark everything up to remind you. So it says RT is 22. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to make that 11. Okay, and then it says US is 18. So what am I going to do? Actually, just to remind myself, so that's going to be 9. Okay, so now same deal again. You want to highlight a right triangle so you can solve for the missing piece. Okay, this time we're solving for the hypotenuse. 11, 9, and then that's your x. So 11 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. Okay, so that's 202 equals x squared. You square root, x equals 14.2. Alright, now we can complete this. VT is 11, UV is 9, RS is 14.2, and ST is 14.2. Okay, so the last one is the most complicated one. I've drawn it here bigger so you can see everything. Alright, okay, so the first thing they give you is ZY is 34, right? So ZY being 34, so again with rhombi, you mark everything up before you begin, and then ZY is 34, well all these things are 34. Next thing they give you is WY is 38. So 38 divided by 2, what's that going to give you? That's going to be 19. Right? And then you are going to have to solve for an angle. Okay? So then the next thing they give you is zxy is 34. Let me change my color. So zxy is 34, zxy, that's 34, okay? So you know that this is going to be 34 as well, okay? Also, what makes it easy for a rhombus is this is 34 and that's 34. Now, you have to remember that, okay, so these are equal and so are these, right? But then it's still a parallelogram, okay? So this, okay, these are consecutive angles. So 34 plus 34, so that's 68. That's 68, right? Okay, so what's going to happen, okay, is that right here, this has to be 112 because these are consecutive. And what are you going to do with the 112? You're going to split that into 56 and 56 and 56. Okay? So, I want you guys to fill the remaining out. Okay? So, but this is typically what a rhombus as far as angles look like. Okay? Alright, so again, fill this out. So now, let's do squares. To me, squares are the easiest because it's a regular quadrilateral. Everything is pretty much equal. Okay? So now, let's just get right to it. Okay? If ABCD is a square, AD is 11. So again, with a square, you want to mark this. Okay? And you want to mark this. Okay? And it says AD is 11. Well, all these things are 11. Alright? Find each missing value. So again, for this, a square though, you want to do a right triangle this way, okay? So I'm going to separate that and make it out here so you can see it. This is 11, this is 11, and we're doing the whole thing, this whole area, A to C, right? So to solve for x, 11 squared plus 11 squared equals x squared. Okay, so that's 242 equals x squared. You square root it, x is going to give you about 15.6. Okay? So now what we're going to do with that 15.6 is you're going to divide that by 2 and you'll get part of the diagonal. Okay? So that's going to go 15.6. That's going to give you 7.8. And that 7.8 goes here. And again, the best thing about a square is everything's pretty much equal. So that's 7.8, that's 7.8. Okay? Also, about a square, angles are either 90 degrees or 45 degrees. Well, you all know what 90 degrees looks like, right? It needs to look like an L. So if it doesn't look like an L, then it's going to be 45. Alright, so let's fill in all the missing things. Here's 11, 15.6, 15.6, 7.8, this is 90, this is 90, and the remaining two are 45. Alright, next thing. Okay, so if STUV is a square with SW equals 2x plus 13, and WU equals 8x minus 41. So basically what they're saying is this, SW is that, and 8x minus 41 is that. Well, you know that these are the same, right? So, how do you set up an equation to solve? Simple. 8x minus 41 equals 2x plus 13. So when you solve for everything, okay, you're going to get 6x equals 54, and you're going to get x equals 9. But that's not your answer. You still have to find VT. So, tell me, what is VT? The last example. Okay, let me remind you, again, this Angles are either 90 degrees or 45 degrees. So it says if FGHI is a square, solve for x. You know that's going to be 45, right? So now, go ahead and solve for x. Okay? So, here is what we've learned so far. Alright? So, this is a parallelogram. Okay, and all these properties. Then you've got a rhombus, or slanted square. Here is a rectangle. And then a square is a mix of both. Okay, let me remind you, you must remember 4 top quiz. Alright, have a great day. See you in class.